G'day, welcome back to Fading Margins. Well, this video in my head was slated to be my proper preparation prevents piss poor performance in the future winter of our discontent video, where I discuss the preparations I'm making for the apocalyptic vision that the British press is presenting to us about this forthcoming winter. However, a few days ago, I found myself replying to one of my viewers, Dave, or David. G'day, mate. When he asked me about multi-tools, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll put together a video about multi-tools for you, because I own a few multi-tools. I own fewer multi-tools than I own pocket knives, but that's by and by. And of course, we all know, those of us who are Swiss Army knife aficionados, that there is a crossover between the pocket knife and the multi-tool. This is my globe-trotting Swiss champ. It's been all over the place. I think I've told you before. It's been all over Europe. It's been back to Switzerland to have the corkscrew fixed after we wore it out with too many family holidays, opening too many wine bottles in our beloved France. It's been to Kyrgyzstan. It's been around. And it's most certainly a multi-tool. People will say, oh, it's not really a multi-tool because it hasn't got a proper pliers, because they tend to be the sort of people who think, when they think multi-tool, they think Leatherman, which, you know, that's okay. That's a particular definition. And they're looking for what is it's a folding full-size pliers. The Victorian Swiss Army knife has a pliers. Wait a minute. There we go. It does have a pliers. And as you can see, it's a completely different kettle of fish. But I have found over time that there's not much you can't do with these pliers. You know, you can use them, I've seen them used as pot lifters. You can use them to hold things. They will cut wire, although the cut is very, very small. You see the jaws down there. It looks like the jaws of a crab. But they do work. And in extremis, if you need to cut something heavier, well, you can use the knife. You know, there are other opportunities, but you know, I'd have no qualms about crimping a electrical fitting back on to say something on my motorbike. Although I don't get fittings coming off on my motorbike because, like every good mistress, she has to get presents, and she's been seen to in that department. But yeah, so getting back to it. Yeah, there's no problem with these pliers really. They are diminutive, but then you're not paying the weight penalty either. So, depending on what you're looking for, in terms of what you expect out of a multi-tool, this is a very real possibility. Or you could go down to the handyman. I have a handyman that I use now exclusively as a sort of walking, hiking, camping tool. It just rides around in the hip pocket of my backpack, dutifully attached to a Light My Fire ferrocerium rod. Most people, as I say, when they think of multi-tools, think of the Leatherman. And my first experience of Leatherman tools came courtesy of a very charming and attractive young woman who used to work in the marketing department of a particular telecoms that I once worked for. She was a sweet girl. She was one of these free spirits who spent her holidays swimming with dolphins and things. And she turned up with a branded, like a Pro-Mode original, the old P something they used to call them, and just gave that, just gifted it me. So that was very sweet, and I was very grateful. I had it for years, and I think in a fit of misguided generosity, I gave it away to somebody. This is perhaps the successor. This is the Blast. It has kind of standard tools on it. It has a saw, and it has a file. The thing with all of these, of course, and it has a screwdriver. It's got a very good Phillips screwdriver. And the reason I say it's a very good one is because of where it's positioned. It's positioned roughly in the same place as it is on the Swiss Champ. It's one of the reasons I'm not into things like the Tinker in the Victorinox range or the Fieldmaster, because I think the Phillips screwdriver, if you're screwing a panel screw back in, okay, but very often you're going to need to get in somewhere to put that screw back in, and you can't do it if you've got the full width of the pocket knife against you. So that, I think that's a clever move. All these tools lock. They've got a little back lock on them here, and it did come with a knife. But the problem with all of these full-size Leathermans is that they're not UK legal. In fact, they're not, depending on where you live. The restrictions on the peaceable and law-abiding are often pertain to whether a knife locks and its length. And in the UK, it's 3 inches, and non-locking gets you out of the woods. So what I did with this one, because I wanted to keep it in my car, was I simply undid these I don't know what you call them, like knurled nuts or something. It takes a bit of doing, it takes a bit of care with vice grips, which is a bit barbaric, and they're a little chewed. But I got the screw out. I removed the knife. I replaced everything, lubed it all up, and then left the knife out and replaced it with washers, and everything works fine. It's absolutely Jim dandy. So there's the saw. You can hear it locks into place. There's no wiggle around it. It's fine. It's great. So it can be done, but it is a bit of a mare. So that's my blast. This is a tool I was given. This is a Nextool Flagship Pro. I was given this by my brother Keith. Love you, man. Heart as big as the whole outdoors. Sweeter guy you couldn't meet. And this is interesting because not only does it have the pliers, the sort of traditional plier setup, and it's they're full size and they're spring loaded, which is more than I can say for the Leathermans. It also has a full size scissors. Well, not full size scissors, but scissors with plenty of torque, and they're quite punchy. They're not messing around. That's how many folds is that? I turned it. Yeah, so it will cut stuff, although maybe that much of soft paper, not so much. It turns the blade. So nice idea, perhaps not quite there in the execution. It does have some interesting other features. It has a strap cutter with a Phillips screwdriver, which you can just about see on the poor resolution of this camera. And then it's got some other bits and pieces. It's got some box pliers, which if they'd been smart and thought about it, they'd put them on the outside, because by its very nature with box pliers, you're going to want to get up close to what it is you're screwing it into. So I'd have put that on the outside, not in the middle, but I didn't design this tool. And then you've got if you look in here, just in there, you can see the nail neck in here. I don't even know what that is. I think it's a cap lifter or something. Yeah, it's the cap lifter screwdriver. It's a long reach to get in there with your nail. Now what I can't find on here is a can opener. Anyway, I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, so what would I say about this one? I'd say if you think you might fancy it, go and find somewhere where you can actually try it out. If it was a Victorinox Swiss tool, or if it was a Leatherman, I'd say, well, just order it online. But it is different, and it warrants feeling it. I mean, it's the nature of the internet age, isn't it? We can order stuff and have it delivered to our house, but we don't get to play with it first. And finally, the boss dog in my collection, anyway. And this one is probably the one I use the most. And this is the Leatherman Wave, when my son entered His Majesty's land forces. I bought him one of these in a more discreet colour. This baby is certainly not street legal. Interestingly, it doesn't have replaceable bits for the wire cutters. That surprises me. Some of them do. It has a locking serrated blade, single-handed opening. It has a drop point, a clip point, non-serrated blade, also locking, and then it has a file. Well, it's the saw. It has a file on the other side. The tool I use most on this, I tell you straight, is this one. Is the bit driver, and I'll tell you why. Because you can get a set of bits. You can see them here on these little plastic cards. They don't actually fit in the sheath, so there's obviously some sort of afterthought. I don't know where you're meant to keep these. And you get an extension, so you're not compelled to use these flat Leatherman items. You can fit the extender like that, and then you fit proper size bits. But if you want to use these still fit very nicely in there. And when I used to run on a regular basis my Benchmade proppers, these like a lot of modern gentlemen's folders can be dismantled for cleaning, and this was always the tool I reached for doing that job. It was just so convenient, and worked so well in that capacity. So it's not just emergencies, you know. It's a first-class tool. I mean, you pay for it, of course you do. They're not cheap, and there's a lot of heft. Let's see if I put this away now. Right? So that goes there, that goes there. Right, so that thing goes back in its pouch, and this goes down the side. I think that's how I carry it. That's a lot of weight. You're not going to want to carry that on your belt every day. Well, I wouldn't. And it makes this look ultralight by comparison. But it does offer you a lot of options. So that's it really. I know there are mini and micro versions. I know SOG has got a small version. I know Leatherman do a variety of knockdown versions. What I would say is once you reduce the size of the pliers down to this big, then you're really up. Then you got a one-to-one comparison with one of these, and you're gonna go a long way before you're gonna beat the build quality, the warranty, and the functionality of a Swiss Army knife. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Dave, I hope that answers your question. I hope that's of some help to somebody. My proper preparation preventing piss poor performance and the future winter of our discontent video will be coming out later this week, I hope, once I work out the format. And we'll talk about all sorts of things from then. In the meantime, this is Steve, wishing you all health and happiness and every blessing. And I'm signing out for now. Bye-bye.